Mexico enter this summer's Confederation Cup in the best form that they have been in quite some time. Under current manager Juan Carlos Osorio, they are undefeated in all competitive and friendly fixtures, dating back to the Copa America Centenario, the last time they lost, which was 7-0, a colossal defeat at the hands of Chile. Since then, Mexico have not lost a single game. Currently, they top the hexagonal World Cup qualifying with 14 points from 6 games, already surpassing their 2013 World Cup qualifying cycle, where they finished with 11 points after 10 games and had to go to a playoff against New Zealand to grab the last spot at the World Cup. So it's looking like Mexico is going to qualify directly. They're on course to topping the hex, finishing in first, remarkably for the first time in their history, because it's always been the United States or Costa Rica who had topped the hex in previous World Cup cycles. And they have a golden opportunity to clinch qualification as early as the next match day in September against Panama, depending on if they get the 3 points there, combined with a few other results in the hex on that same day going their way. So I consider Mexico heading into this tournament one of the contenders to win the title. I really do. And Mexico, more than any other country in the history of the Confederations Cup, have participated in this tournament. This will be Mexico's record 7th appearance overall in the Confed Cup, by far more than any of the other 7 teams that have made it, and by far more than any other country in the world. Looking at the 23-man lineup, I'm going to read through the list here. Goalkeepers: Guillermo Ochoa, Alfredo Talavera, Rodolfo Cota. Defenders: Diego Reyes, Nestor Araujo, Carlos Salcedo, Rafael Marquez, Hector Moreno, and Luis Reyes. Midfielders: Andres Guardado, Jonathan Dos Santos, Hector Herrera, Osvaldo Alanis, Miguel Layún, Giovanni Dos Santos, Carlos Vela, and Javier Aquino. And forwards: Marco Fabian, Javier Hernandez, Raul Jimenez, Irving Lozano, and Oribe Peralta. What stands out to me from this lineup, and most people, when you ask them who's going to be Mexico's most important player this summer at the Confederations Cup, I can almost guarantee you a majority will either name Javier Chicharito Hernandez or they will name someone like Gio Dos Santos. I think it's going to be Andres Guardado. I do. I think the whole phrase defense wins championships, while I do agree with that to a large extent, I also think battles are won through the midfield. And Andres Guardado is the rock of Mexico's midfield. If he puts on the captain's armband and guides them much as he did through the Gold Cup of 2015, then I think under his leadership, this Mexican side can get far into this tournament and even go on to win. And like I said, I do consider them title contenders, as much as that may shock a few of you. You look at Mexico's history in the Confederations Cup. They've won it before in 1999 when they've hosted it. They've reached a few semifinals before as well. So when you combine that with the fact that they have a laser point focus on this tournament and the Gold Cup is taking a backseat as far as priorities are concerned for the summer, combined with the fact that Portugal tends to start off tournaments very slowly, I think Mexico is in with a great shot here to top Group A. I think this squad is just way too talented for Tecatito Corona's absence to have a huge domino effect. I think they just have more than enough in their stock to make up the numbers for his absence. And Mexico also benefit from the fact that their toughest opponent, Portugal, will be in their first match. And afterwards, it's New Zealand and then Russia. They play the host nation in the final game. Getting the first game out of the way against your toughest opponent is the best thing you can honestly hope for in a major tournament. I think the Portugal-Mexico game is going to set the tone for the rest of this group. Whether one team picks up the full 3 points or they share the spoils with 1 point each, I think it's going to have a huge effect in who will top this group and who will go through. And consequently, because I say that, I do think Portugal versus Mexico, while being the heaviest game in this group, I do think it's going to be the most important game in this group. And speaking of the group, where do I see this Mexican team finishing? I was tempted to go with them to win it. To top this group, play the second place team from Group B in the semifinals. But I do think that just like Portugal, Mexico's progression through the next round is not going to be secure until the final match day against Russia. One of my bold predictions was that they were going to drop some points against New Zealand just for fun. I still stand by that. I think Mexico will defeat Russia in the last game. I think that's going to be a close one. I think they're going to go through in second. I just think them and Portugal are too strong for New Zealand and Russia, respectively. So I do think Mexico is going to come in second in this group and advance to play the winner of Group B, which may be Chile. It might be Chile, and that'll give the Mexicans a chance for revenge. That's a matchup they probably want. That's a matchup they probably are desperate to redeem, given another chance to sort of avenge their humiliation from last year. So, based on all the hints that I've gave you, you can imagine how I think this group is going to unfold. As far as how the group is going to look specifically game by game, now that I've told you what teams in this group are going to finish where, here I have written down the score lines I have for each game, as well as the final table, what it's going to look like. If you can't understand my handwriting, excuse me, my handwriting's a little bit poor, but this is what I have. So as you can see, I do have Portugal and Mexico finishing level on points, 5 each. Russia close behind them with 4 points, and New Zealand in last with 1 point. So those are all my predictions for Group A. Stay tuned for tomorrow when I give my team profile and predictions for Chile in Group B.